The chair recognizes Steve Cohen of Tennessee, who serves on the Commercial and Administrative Law Subcommittee, as well as Intellectual Property.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. In general, I appreciate your taking this position and improving the image of the Justice Department in the nation's eyes. And I appreciate your looking into the issue we talked about during the break with the football stadium in Memphis.
Which I will.
Thank you. Thank you. University of Michigan has, I think, about the same number of seats as we do, but they have 100,000 people per game. We have about 25,000, and that somehow ought to be factored in.
Sorry to see that there's less interest in your team than there is in the University of Michigan.
Yes. Well, we have emphasized academics more, I guess. There is a gentleman.
Gentleman's words will be taken down.
Whoops. Yes, please. Paul Miner, an attorney from Mississippi, is in prison now, and we've discussed his case, and there's some thought that he might have been, politics might have influenced his prosecution. Without getting into the basis of the facts, and I know there have been allegations of prosecutions in other cases, Mr. Miner has an appeal, which I think the Office of Professional Responsibility is looking into. But at the present time, he's seeking a release, temporary release, pending his appeal, because his wife is dying of cancer, and she may be, I believe, in her final months. I would just like to ask you for an assurance that you will personally review the matter and make sure that within the parameters that are possible, you could take into consideration the facts that were led to his conviction and the particular situation with his wife.
Well, if OPR is conducting an inquiry, and I believe they are, then I think I will await, I have to await, I should await the outcome of that, because I may be called upon to act in response to it. So far as the other situations, I understand it, I don't know precisely. I know the BOP has a humane release program that relates to the illnesses of prisoners. I don't know whether they have a humane release program that relates to relatives of prisoners or how close he is to the release date. I can try to make inquiry as to what the precise situation is.
Thank you, if you would. I think he's nowhere near the release date, and I think possibly you should a review of the policy says if somebody's spouse is dying.
There have been situations in which people have been taken from custody for visitation purposes and so on. I don't want to get too far out ahead of the curve, but I've encountered that as a district judge, and let me find out what the policy is.
Thank you, sir. You mentioned in your testimony that violent crime remains near historic lows in the United States. That's this quote. Am I misreading this?
There have been spikes in certain areas, and I recognize that. Violent crime is down something like 1.6%, which sounds like a modest number, but that's a lot of people who haven't been victims.
But that can't be historic lows. I mean, historic lows, sure, there had to be a sometime when crime is really pretty high now. I'm
not familiar with crime statistics from the founding of the Republic to today. I believe that that was something of a metaphor.
Well, the important thing is this, not to question.
It's low by current standards. That's not to say that it's tolerable. It's not tolerable.
My city of Memphis has a high crime problem, and violent crime is high there, and people would not ever think it was not. You have programs that I think are excellent concerning Project Safe Neighborhood, and you've mentioned that you will be offering regional training throughout the United States. What is the process by which the city of Memphis, Tennessee 9 congressional district could participate in one of those regional opportunities?
We generally have localities essentially compete based on a showing of need and a showing of their ability to use the resources along with federal authorities. I know there is a 10-site program relating to gangs, and if I can find it in my notes, I can find out whether Memphis is one of those locations.
I don't think it is from your notes, but if it's possible you could consider Memphis. We certainly need the help. And if I could push it along, I'd be happy to. You mentioned on Mr. Wexler's questioning about the Vice President, you said in the abstract, no, he would not have executive privilege extended to him. Can you go a little further with that? Mr. Addington was here and said that Vice President Cheney was not in the executive or the legislative. He was in some, basically a barnacle attached to the legislative branch. Where do you see him floating, and why would he not be? Does he have executive privilege?
It's my own belief that the Vice President is a member of the executive branch. I know that there has been a discussion about where his office is located and lots of sort of abstract debate about that. The Vice President is obviously one of the closest advisors to the President, and he is a close advisor to the President within the executive branch. That, in my view, is where he sits.
Gentleman's time has expired.
Abstract theories of whether there is or isn't some barnacle status.
Thank you, General. And in the tradition of the Congress, since my time has expired, I will yield the remainder of my time.